Ladies and gentlemen, Jennie is about to come on and blow your mind, especially if you have been seeing the statistics, you've been looking at direct sales, you've been looking at how to really grow yourself and your business, and you're like, man, there's all this evidence that things are more difficult or more challenging. We are going to break through that BS nonsense and give you the tools, the empowerment, and the inspiration to move forward and know what you can do to break the stereotype, to break whatever is going on, because you deserve to be your greatest possible self. And I want to say thank you for choosing to become your greatest possible self by being with us here today, by listening to this interview, by growing yourself. And I really acknowledge you for taking one step at a time. Next, we're going to share our iTunes review of the week. And this week it is Swartz B22 who says, win. Chris inspires by encouraging everyone to become the greatest possible self so you can become all that you were created to be. Swartz B22, thank you so much for that review. If you want a chance to get shouted out on a future 12-hour live stream, go to beyourgps.com/iTunes or search Greatest Possible Self on the Apple Podcast Store. Leave us a review. Let us know what you love, what you want to see more of, and how we can I got caught up by that rhyme. I was like, oh, this sounds so good. What you love, what you want to see more of, and what you want to see and how we can improve the show for you. I appreciate that. Thank you so much in advance. And keep having fun. Keep growing with us. Hit that subscribe button so you can have all the inspiration you could ever want. Thanks for being here. I'm going to introduce Jennie in just a sec. Before that, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, be ready to take notes. We are going to go fast and furious, and definitely stick around all the way through to the end, because one idea has the power to change everything for you. Jennie Bellinger is known as the Direct Sales Domme. She's the host of the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast and helps rockstar direct sales moms whip their business into shape. Jennie is a certified professional coach, and her methods are not painful, but they are very, very effective. And we are going to rock the house. Jennie, are you ready to bring it?
Oh yeah, let's go.
We are.
I even have my writing prop right here ready.
Oh, got the whip. Oh, we are going there. Yes. I love it. Well, thank you for being here. We're going to dive right in, Jennie. The theme today is using crises to fuel creation. What is your interpretation of that?
Well, at this point in time, our brains are going at like 1,000 miles an hour, right? Yeah. And of course, one of the greatest definitions I've ever heard about anxiety and depression comes from my friend Dallas Amsden. And he said, depression and anxiety are misdirected imagination.
Ooh.
Right? Ooh. Super powerful. Yeah. I am not typically an anxious person. And so for me to hear that definition, I went, oh, now I get anxiety, because that's not a thing that I generally allow myself to get into that place, right, because I'm such a positive human being. Yeah. So if we can take our minds that are racing 1,000 miles an hour right now with all the different things, and instead take that energy and redirect it to our business and go, okay, brainstorming session time. Since you're already going 1,000,000 miles an hour,
that's right,
this way.
Boom.
It doesn't mean you have to completely pivot and change business or whatever, but just take those ideas and get them down on paper, or get them in a note on your phone or on your computer or wherever it is that you want to keep all your stuff, and just get the ideas out of your head.
I love that. Use
that energy to just create, and put it down. That's what I've been doing.
So
podcast episodes out the wazoo, written, ready to go.
Just can't keep a lid on it. It is just flowing out.
Right. Like I feel like I'm so tapped into this current energy that's going on in the country, in the world. Yeah. And normally I wouldn't say something like that. I'm not typically woo-woo like that. Like on the woo-woo scale, I'm a 1.5 out of 2 woos. But I really feel that this energy is feeding this creativity that's coming around my business and working with my clients and saying, okay, so how can we utilize what's going on right now to, set some processes in place, get some systems going, right? Things that they didn't have time to do before because they were so busy working, doing their business, being mom, being whatever. Now's the time.
Wow. Wow, I love it. I love you really like you're using it to fuel, like literal fuel, this energy, the energy that is chaos, that is anxiety, that is, stuff that's going on in the world. It's like it is our fuel to redirect, right? Because left unchecked, left unconsciously doing whatever it's going to do, it's going to derail us. It's going to go in a billion different directions. But if we use that and harness it in an intelligent, focused, intentional way, then like anything is possible. And especially with our businesses, it could really be the rocket fuel to get to wherever we want to go in our next level.
Absolutely. Because, we're all feeling this.
Yeah.
We're all feeling this. It literally, the difference is how you choose to use this feeling inside of you, because all you're feeling is the vibration. Yeah. So are you going to use it for good or use it for evil? And with great power comes great responsibility to say, you know what, I have a gift and I'm going to figure out how I can use it for good.
Yep.
And now I've got all this extra energy. So where am I going to put it?
Yep.
Where am I going to put it?
Yep. Let's
business,
go save some
into
people.
Other people.
Peter Parker, let's go save some people. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
Exactly.
So this is great, Jenny. I love how we're just flowing into this. I want to talk about you and what you're standing for with badass direct sales mastery, BDSM, and serving people, especially moms in direct sales. Tell us more about that.
So I personally started in the direct sales world, running my own direct sales business in 2010, and got into, I was coaching my own team starting in 2011. So I was just coaching exclusively with one company for a number of years and became a certified professional coach a few years ago so that I could begin to reach out and have a positive impact on the businesses and lives of rockstar direct sales moms across the country, around the world, regardless of what company they're with.
That's awesome.
Because I'm a big believer in the direct sales model. I'm a big believer in the opportunity that people have to get into business, because most of the people who are coming into direct sales are coming from service-based industries. They're coming from nursing, teaching, ambulance drivers, all, that kind of stuff, right? They clock in, do what they have to, clock out. They're not in the business of running a business.
Right.
So direct sales is a great way to introduce someone to the world of entrepreneurship. The key is to move them from employee mindset to business owner.
Boom. Boom.
And so that's what I do is I work with my clients to move them from one to the other, realize that yes, you are the CEO, the CFO, the CIO, the CMO, you are the C-suite for your business right now.
Yeah.
Yes. And so now we're going to learn how to wear all these different hats and change hats and get stuff done.
I love that. I started in direct sales, and I was in engineering school for electrical engineering, and I got my degree. But right before I graduated, I discovered direct sales, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I can be free. I can create anything I want. I can do what I want. I can not be I was unfulfilled in engineering. I was like, this doesn't seem that like all that it was cracked up to be when I said, hey, I'm going to go get a 4-year degree and work for the rest of my life. That doesn't seem like awesome, And I just
work to fulfill someone else's dream.
Exactly. And I got that fire of possibility rekindled within me, that fire of like, I can do and achieve anything I set my mind to. I think it's one of the greatest business models for people who are like just wanting to take the next step and find something that they believe in, a product or service, and then share it with people in an empowering way. So it changes people's lives, and they also get rewarded, they get compensated, they get to grow their leadership abilities, their communication abilities. It's like, I love it. I love the model.
Yeah, it's absolutely phenomenal, but it's the people who are able to transition from employee to entrepreneur who are successful, which is why there is such a huge turnover rate. Yeah. Because a lot of people are never able to get out of that mindset, but the ones who are the ones who seek me out or are introduced to me because they put it out in the universe that they want to make this business work and they don't know how to do it, and magically someone who knows them knows me, or they find my podcast. And so that's what I do. My podcast is called Badass Direct Sales Mastery, as you mentioned before.
I love it.
And I am the Direct Sales Domme. So in case you guys hadn't made the connection between Badass Direct Sales Mastery, BDSM.
Yep.
So, and I picked that theme because, Chris, you and I met at the New Media Summit in 2018 at your first one. I had been to the one previous to that. And Steve Ulsher had us come up with our topic of influence. And for me, I was like, badass direct sales. Yes, that's how I identified when I was in direct sales. And I went, BDS, that's really close to BDSM. This could be fun. Let's go with that. So I attribute all of this back to the New Media Summit and starting with that, because I was like, what a fun way to approach your business and say, look, I want to dominate my business. Yeah. I want to be in charge of it. Yeah. I'm not going to let my business run me.
Amen.
Yeah. You know,
and I think that's what a lot of people really need is they like that would make the difference for them is to take charge and be responsible and say, I'm going to lead this thing to success, because if I don't take that level of ownership, then I'm just going to float around like a boat adrift at sea. Like if a wave comes, it's going to totally derail me and I'm going to be, lost forever and pouting and victims, like trying to survive, instead of saying like, I'm going to weather this storm. I'm going to prepare. I'm going to put the systems in place. I'm going to train myself. I'm going to get the support that I need to be able to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. And to continue with that analogy, if your business is a boat, you're not going to go anywhere without the GPS.
That's right. That's right.
And if you don't have your destination in mind, you are going to be completely afloat in whatever wave, whatever, flow of water comes your way. You're going to have to follow it because you don't have a course to chart. You're not going in a particular direction with your business. You're just happy with moving, not realizing that, I just moved backwards because I wasn't paying attention.
That is so important that you said that, because it's so funny because at sea, it's natural to be moving. It's like, oh, I'm moving. Things are great. But so many people are moving so much and then not getting the results that they want. They're not fulfilled. They're feeling exhausted. They're feeling tired. They're feeling like, how can I keep going with this? Like, I can't keep going like this. I have to change something, and I think that's the point where like things change and they can actually create a different reality. But like, why wait until we get exhausted and burn out and so frustrated and beat up in life to make that change? Like, start making those changes now. Start getting the GPS in place, getting the destination, the systems and the processes now.
Absolutely. And what they don't realize is they're the ones who are holding the oar. They're the ones who are standing at the steering wheel, depending on what kind of boat you had in mind. By the way, I don't care what's going on in the world. My boat's a friggin' cruise ship.
Yes.
But, it's, seriously, what they don't understand is they're the ones who are holding the oar. They're the ones in charge of where it goes. But because they so often I got an email and I got a text, I got this other thing, and they're letting all the other distractions, everybody else requests on their time, energy, and focus, instead of saying, my priority is myself, my family, my business.
Yep.
Fill my cup first. Take care of my family, so when it's time to do business, I'm good to go.
Yeah, and there's no resentment about, my family's trying to pull me away, or I'm being, spending too much time on the business. It's like, no, fill your own cup, fulfill on your family, and it's probably like communication too, right? It's like you may not be able to do 24 hours a day with your family, and that might be an unreasonable expectation that a lot of moms especially think that they have to go do.
Oh yeah, no kidding. I mean, one of the most fun things I get to do with my clients is say, okay, because almost all of them have kids, and many of them have kids that are around the same age as mine, somewhere in the tween, lower, young teen age, and I'm like, so how much housework are they doing, and how much are you doing?
Ooh.
Right? How much are you delegating? Yeah. To your cleaning staff, because you are CEO.
Boom.
How many CEOs clean their business? You're working from home. Who's cleaning your business? If it's you, you're using your time in the wrong place.
Yep.
Get your kids to do it, because that's a lesson I had to learn.
Yeah. Well, I love that. It's going from the employee mindset, which is like I have to do everything. Like I feel like resentment because I have to do everything, instead of saying that, like, hey, I'm going to leverage my team. I'm going to leverage the resources. I'm going to get it done, and especially allow me to focus my time and energy on those top priorities, which I think can be a really difficult transition for people to make when they're leading themselves.
Well, and I think in a lot of cases, it's hard for moms because their thought is, well, but I can do it faster than they can. Oh my gosh. Understood. And you have other stuff to do. Your kids' priorities, they just want to get back on the computer and play Minecraft again. Mm-hmm. So the faster they learn how to do it, the faster they get it done, then they can get back to the Minecrafting, right?
Yeah, and I heard someone say that if you think that because you're the best at doing a task, then that means you should be doing the task, then you'd probably be doing everything, right? It's like, if you do it the best, then why would you delegate it to anyone? And if that's the standard that you run on, it's like that's lunacy,
right? Well, and honestly, it's a gift we give our children to learn how to become self-sufficient and clean a house. Yeah. Because we are not going to be here for the rest of their lives. So what kind of human do you want to put out in the world? And if it's not someone who can take care of themselves, maybe time to rethink that.
Yep. And I'm sure a lot of parents have the best intentions, but it's like,
absolutely.
But it's like, how are we actually doing? And really taking a look at that, which I know having a coach, someone like you, who's able to take a look at how are you spending your time, where are the breakdowns, where are the miscommunications, where are things not working, where are you not getting the results that you want, then you could really start putting in those systems and processes.
Right. Well, and not only that, it also helps to have someone who's got the tools.
Yeah.
Because since I've been doing this for so long now, I've already established literal chore charts.
I love
People
it.
are like, you're a business coach and you have chore charts? Yeah. For my clients' kids. Here.
Yes.
Because then they're not doing it. That's a good thing, right? So I have definitely worked on all kinds of tools that they can utilize to help make their life easier. And guess what? Then they get to make me the bad guy. I'm okay if their kids don't like me because they don't know who I am.
That's right.
Mom's coaches make me do the dishwasher.
I love it.
Okay.
I want to talk about the journey, Jennie. What was it like for you in the beginning? Like, what were some of the biggest wake up calls that you got growing your business and really stepping into that leadership role and serving other people?
Well, I'd have to say the most growth I've ever really experienced has probably been when I transitioned from direct sales to running my own coaching business. Yeah. Because the nice thing is when you are in direct sales, as you mentioned, you've got some support. It is your own business, but you've got support, right? You don't have to do the website. You don't have to do all the other things. The company takes care of a lot of that for you. They do the drop ship, the product shipment, all that stuff, right? So when I went into business for myself as a coach, all of a sudden, okay, now it really was all on me. Yeah. I really did have to figure out what I was going to do for a website, for how I was going to do this whole coaching thing. And honestly, when I started the coaching practice in 2017, it really has morphed over time. Yeah. I had no intention, even when I showed up at New Media Summit in 2017, I had no intention of starting a podcast. Wow. I had no intention of writing a book. I'm in the middle of doing that right now. Yes. And because I didn't realize, number one, what was possible, how a podcast and the book could positively impact more people than I could ever do coaching one at a time. Yep. Because back then I set a goal of, I want to help 1,000. Well, then going to Steve's summit made me go, I am not dreaming big enough, because I thought 1,000 was a huge number when I started my business. And now I'm like, oh, no. I'm going to impact 100,000 women and their businesses. And I cannot do that coaching 1 or 4 or 15 people at a time. I can't do that. I'm not going to live that long. Our lives are finite.
Yeah.
So how do I reach more people? How do I help more people? Because the great thing about direct sales is we are in charge of our time,
Yep.
right? We're in
Yep.
charge of our business.
Yep.
The problem with direct sale, or one of the issues with direct sales, is you're kind of at the mercy of who brings you into the business.
Mm.
If they came in 3 weeks before you did, they know as much as you do. And it's the blind leading the blind.
Yeah.
Which isn't the end of the world, because that's essentially what happened to me.
Yep,
I got brought in now, right?
Yep.
I got brought in. Now, luckily, the person who brought me into my business, she had been in direct sales for like over a decade.
Oh, wow.
She had just switched companies.
Wow.
When she and I met, and she brought me into the business. So she had the direct sales knowledge.
Yeah.
But she didn't have the company product knowledge.
Sure, which that can be learned pretty dang quick. But the habits of being a master of your time and your systems and persistence and discipline, hooey, that can take some time to learn.
And one of the greatest, one of my favorite trainings she ever did was one she did very early on when I first started. And she pointed out to us, she said, I'm going to tell you guys right now, this business is a roller coaster. There are times you are high as high because you've got all the parties, you've got a team that's rocking and rolling, you're selling like crazy, it's amazing. And then 6 weeks later, you're at the bottom of the roller coaster going, oh crap. Oh crap, what's going on? What happened to my business? Where did it all go? What happened? Wow. She goes, keep doing the work. Whatever gets you back up to the next high, keep doing that work. Don't stop doing that work. And your highs and your lows will stay higher.
Yep.
And you're going up.
The baseline will go up.
Yeah. And I went, oh, okay. So she gave me the idea that, hey, this isn't all going to be roses and champagne and whatever. She made sure to let me know that there was gonna be times when I was gonna be slogging through some stuff.
Yep.
So that was really nice to know from the beginning, because so many people in direct sales try and say, oh, this is so easy. This stuff sells itself. You don't even really have to work. Well, no wonder 90% of them are gone in 5 years.
Oh my gosh. And I love what you're saying there. I had a reflection of the principle in my life. I read The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy. Whenever anyone asks, what's the first personal development book you read? I said Compound Effect. Like that was like the most powerful thing to say, this is going to be a journey. And there's going to be days where I screw up, where I mess up. But as long as I keep showing up and take one step at a time, then nothing is impossible. And I just get to have patience and grace with myself while still, challenging myself and striving to be better every single day. And that was one of the most profound beliefs I feel like I could have really, planted a seed for in my subconscious really early on.
Nice. Yeah. And it's, I can't remember who said it, but 90% of life is how you react to it.
Yeah.
10% is the actual situation,
Wow.
and we choose how we react. And there are some people who don't feel that way because they don't understand the power they have over their own thinking.
Wow. I want to dive into some of the tools that people, especially the moms out there, can be using to grow their direct sales business. Like, what do you think is a foundation that's really needed? Of course, like, don't do it alone. Talk to Jennie. Like, freaking subscribe to that podcast, because oh my gosh, if you want to get great at something, you got to study people who are doing it well.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Yeah, I would say that the number one tool that they can probably do to help grow their business is train. Be a lifelong learner.
Yes.
Right? Be open to more information. Your upline leader is not the only human being who can support you with that. There are other people. As I was beginning to write my book, one of the things I realized that I did early on was I did not just, connect with my upline leader. I found myself connecting to leaders in other companies.
Yeah.
And saying, hey, what are you doing? How are you doing things? What's going, how do you run your business? What are the secrets to success for you? Because you've been doing this for 8 years, 10 years, 15 years, whatever. Just trying to get that little bit of information and say, okay, yes, she's selling like skincare or makeup. I was in the jewelry thing. Mm-hmm. How can I take what she was doing with makeup and skincare and apply it to the bling, right? So going through that process and being open to learning, and not just from your company. Now, granted, luckily nowadays, even compared to when I was in 10 years ago, when I first started, there was not a lot of companies that were offering training online.
Yep.
They still had a lot of it only at conference.
Yep.
And they relied on their leaders to train their teams. Right? Now you can go on YouTube and probably look for any direct sales training anywhere.
Yep.
I would highly recommend you go to Badass Direct Sales Mastery YouTube channel. But literally, I mean, if you can find how to do underwater basket weaving on YouTube, and if you think I'm kidding, go look it up. There's not just one tutorial teaching you how to do it. There's like 5.
Oh my gosh.
It's a thing.
Oh my gosh. I love it.
I thought my dad made that crap up when he was like, if you're going to grow up and do underwater basket weaving. And so one day, because I was telling somebody how many tutorials, like if I teach myself on YouTube all the time, how do I do this? How do I do this? Yeah. And so I was like, I wonder if, and sure enough, underwater basket weaving is there. So be a lifelong learner, be open to learning from lots of different people, and subscribe to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast. Because we have amazing, what we do on the podcast is a majority of my podcasts are interviews.
Okay.
They're interviews with direct sales leaders who've been doing it for 3 to 5 years minimum. Very rarely do I interview anybody who has less experience in that, because the Federal Trade Commission says that 90% of direct sales representatives are out of the business in 5 years.
Wow.
90% turnover rate. Wow. That's huge. So I'm talking to the 10% who've made it 3 to 5 years minimum, and saying, okay, tell us your journey. So that way, if somebody's listening, they go, oh my God, that sounds exactly like me. Great. You've got a connection to this person now. I'm asking them, what's the biggest obstacle that you've overcome in your business? And then what's your secret to success? What's the secret according to Chris? What's the secret according to Jennie? Whoever it is that I'm interviewing. And they have some really great, amazing, profound, and sometimes very simple secrets to success.
That's right. I think the timeless principles that make the biggest difference are so simple and basic, but it like really changes our lives when we apply it consistently and with discipline. And I want to talk about the statistic that's on the headline of the interview, how like last year that it was down like 25-30%, the industry as a whole. Like, can you tell us more about that and what we can be doing to transform that and not fall into that trap ourselves?
Well, I don't know the exact reason, right? All I can do is say, based on what I'm seeing happening and based on my own personal experience, I personally believe the reason income was down for direct sales in 2019 is because there were too many people relying on social media to do their entire business.
Wow.
They thought, and maybe they got told by the person who brought them into the business. I don't know. But I hear from a lot of my clients, they're asking me questions about social media. And I'm like, look, here's the deal. People don't get on Facebook. Like, if any of you can say that you got on Facebook to go buy something, I think you're lying, because we all get on Facebook to connect with our family, connect with our friends, see what's going on in their world. We are not going on Facebook to go shopping.
Nope.
We go to Amazon if we want to shop.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So I think too many of them are focusing on selling through Facebook, selling through Instagram, selling through social media, rather than anything that happens from connections from those social media platforms becoming the icing on the cake.
Yeah.
Those really should be random, happy, yay, I sold something, or yay, I met someone who wants to join my team because they've been watching me for 3 years on social media, kill it in my business.
Yep.
But do business the old-fashioned way, because remember, direct sales has been around since the 1950s, right? They didn't have social media, so how did they grow, right? They did it the old-fashioned way. They built connections. They talked to other human beings and said, hey, tell me about you.
Yeah.
I mean, the best sellers aren't selling. They're building relationship.
They're listening.
Yeah. They're building relationship. They're getting to know the people. And then, because all things equal, people do business with people they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
All things not being equal, people do business with people they know, like, and trust. Right? In this time, in this day and age right now, given what's going on in the world, how many of you are willing to go take a chance on a business you've never met? Right? How many of you are going, all right, I'm going to the grocery store down the street because I've been going there for 30 years, right?
Yep.
You know it, you like it, you trust it.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm curious because I think technology has brought about so many innovations and so many advantages. What do you think are the advantages that people should know? Like, what do you feel still gets to be done as far as like old school that's important to keep doing, like building relationships, for example? I love that. And then how can we use technology to the best of our ability to help us succeed more?
Absolutely. Well, I'd have to say that the thing that I work with my clients on probably the most is automating their business, which sounds odd. But one of the things that I learned about myself in running my own direct sales business is I am a night owl, especially given that I had really young kids back when I was running my direct sales business.
Wow.
I mean, babies.
Yeah.
I was running my direct sales with babies. So I had to do the work after they were in bed asleep. And by the time we put them to bed the 700th time at 9:30, and I was finally getting to actually get work done, I'm like, well, it's too late to text anybody. It's too late to call anybody.
Wow.
Like, I don't want to email somebody at 11 o'clock and have their phone ding because they keep it by their bed. And then they're like, oh, that rude chick, she made my phone ding, right? Like, I didn't want to do that. So I'm like, what am I going to do? Yeah. Well, I found out that you can get apps for your phone that will let you pre-schedule a text.
Wow.
So you can pre-schedule it, pre-write who it's going to. And then like if your iPhone, the app that I use, and I am not an affiliate, they don't have a referral as far as I know. I just friggin' love it. And I recommend it to all my clients if their iPhone is something called Scheduled. And you can have pre-set up the person you want to send it to, what you want to say, the day you want to send it, the time you want to send it, and then it will pop up a notification and say, hey, did you still want to send this? Yeah. And then you click yes, and then you click send.
Wow.
2 buttons, and your text is done at the time that is reasonable for you. So you can go through. So for example, for those of you who are in direct sales watching this right now, if you're in a party plan model, you can preset all those hostess texts in advance. All the things that are going out 2 weeks before her party, a week before her party, 3 days before her party, the day before her party, the day of her party. Set it all up, set it and forget it.
Yes.
Crock pot your business, y'all.
I love it. I love it.
So yeah, technology definitely does play in to it. It's just, you want to not necessarily rely on certain parts as to be 100% of your business. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
What do you think about the people who say it's difficult for me to like connect with people, to pick up the phone and call, or different things like that, afraid of rejection, things like that? What do you say to those people?
Well, it's really a mindset, because the people who are afraid to pick up the phone and call, who are afraid to reach out, the reason they're afraid is because they are reaching out to the other person with dollar signs in their eyes.
Ooh.
How much money can I get from that person?
Wow.
And when you're reaching out with that intention, yeah, that does feel yucky.
Yep.
On both ends.
Yep.
We both feel like we just got slimed. It's not cool. So the people, if you're reaching out to literally build connection, and get to know people and say, hey, how can I help you? How can I help you? Then over time, we've all heard it, givers gain, or Zig Ziglar also does, help enough other people get what they want and you'll get what you want. Yeah. Well, it takes work to do that.
Jennie, what has been one of your best strategies or secrets to transitioning the conversation? Because I know that can be art in itself, from, hey, like, I care about you, and then, all right, now we want to go in this direction to see like how I can serve you with my company. Like, what do you recommend around that?
Well, I think in that case, it's once you've talked with them long enough and you know what's going on in their life, if they've said something, because again, as you mentioned before, the best sellers are listeners. Yeah. They're listening and they're saying, okay, how does this apply? How can I help them with this? Now, here's the thing. One of my coaches has a thing which is all about no fish goes unfried, right? So when I catch a client or a potential client, and then I realize, ooh, not my client, I don't throw them back in the river. I go, whose client is this, if not mine? Wow. I'm going to send them to the person they need to go to, right? Yep. So listening carefully and finding out, okay, they have, let's say, for example, it's an essential oils person. Okay, just for lack of another thought in my head at the moment. So let's say it's an essential oils person and they are trying to transition the conversation from how are you, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. They're listening the whole time. And somebody is talking about what's going on in the world right now and how scared they are of getting this and blah, blah, blah. The essential oils person can go, yeah, that's really scary. I totally get it. I feel the same way. Are you open to learning about one of our products that can actually help you with that? Are you open?
Are you open?
Is a great question to ask. Are you open? Because who wants to be closed? Anybody? Anybody? No, right? It's really hard for someone to say no to, are you open to hearing about it?
Right.
Right? And you're asking permission. So if they say no, great. Then you move on and, Right. So what are you doing to protect yourself? So, just continue the conversation. You don't shut down and go, oh, well, you don't want to buy my shit, so peace out. That's not how you want to run it. So it's really permission-based conversation change.
Yep. And one thing I wanted to dive into, because we talked about automation, and something that's coming up in my mind is, I think a lot of moms might be really great at connecting with people and being friends and being great conversationalists and checking in and caring. And oftentimes they might have a difficulty with like the systems and keeping track and like organizing their business. I'm curious what you found as far as organizing their relationships and building relationships, because after like a really short amount of time, it can be pretty overwhelming to keep track of all the relationships, where people are at. What have you found works for you and for your clients, Jennie?
Oh, wow. There's 3 that come to mind for me, and each one has different benefits, pros and cons, depending on how you think, how you operate, how you move. Sure. There is a CRM, for those of you who are listening in direct sales and don't know what a CRM is. That's a customer relationship management tool. There's one that was developed exclusively for use by people in direct sales, and it's called FiitFU. Fortune is in the follow-up. FiitFU, FiitFU.
I love
right?
it.
So Fortune is in the follow-up. That is one that a few of my clients have found quite a bit of success with. It works for the way that they operate. They love how that one works for them. Some of my other clients are on something called Teamzy, Teamzy, which is another CRM that pops up and says, hey, you haven't talked to these 5 people in the last 30 days, reach out to them.
Wow.
Right. So it helps keep you in touch with people in the time frame that you set for them.
Wow.
Right. So it does all of that for you. I personally use something called Connect 365.
Okay.
And the reason I like Connect 365 is it connects directly to my Gmail account. And it sends emails on my behalf instead of through some of the other email management systems that are out there. that have an open rate of 5% or less. My Connect 365 emails have an open rate of approximately 80%.
Yes.
And that's because it's coming from me. It's not coming from, some of the other, I don't want to bash anybody, but it's the email companies that everybody else uses
right.
to send newsletters and blah, blah, blah. Those don't get open anymore because we just get spammed. Whereas these are actual emails from me. They're not made to look like newsletters. It's just text and information from me. And, I can preset it up days, weeks, months in advance if I wanted to. But I actually like Connect 365 very much just because it is more personal and you can create your own custom templates to use.
That's gold. Freaking valuable, Jennie. I love it. I want to hear for anyone who's listening, tuning in, which one of those sounds the best for you? Which one do you want to explore? Put it in the comments. Let us know. Take a screenshot of this podcast episode or YouTube, wherever you're catching it, and this is and put it up on social media. Tag me and Jennie. This is great stuff, Jennie. I'm loving it, and I think that the BDSM model as well. I want to dive into that because it's so unique, it's so different, so special. Tell us more about how do you weave that into your business and like curriculum and how you serve your clients, because I think it's so fascinating.
Well, it all started because, of course, like I said, it was something that I was like, oh, isn't this funny? Right? It's hilarious. And then as I decided to actually come out with a podcast that was going to be called that, and I was like, all right, so if I'm going to do that, what would the podcast art look like? Well, I was like, you got to have a dominatrix in it. And I was like, but I don't want them like thinking of some other person, whatever. I want them to have it be me. So I actually went to a photo shoot with makeup artist and hairstylist and a photographer who got a picture of me all dommed up.
Boom.
Because what I'm hearing from my listeners who didn't already know me before I started the podcast, because we all start with our mom, right? Our mom is our first podcast listener, right? So for the people who found me, it's because they just searched direct sales and they were scrolling through the pictures and they went,
what?
Why is there a chick with a whip in a corset with BDSM behind her head? What does this have to do with direct sales? It gets them to stop.
Wow.
Because all the other direct sales podcasts that I was listening to at the time, were much more conservative. They were afraid of offending anybody. They were afraid of, they were just afraid of offending anybody and chasing anybody away. And what I found in my research with people was, when you think of a direct sales consultant, what do you think of? And I had people telling me, I see soccer moms. I think of, somebody who is uber Christian. Maybe they homeschool their kids. They're super conservative, whatever. And I went, oh, so you think of everyone who's not me. Right. And I'm like, yes, I'm a mom with kids, but I am not what you would term a soccer mom. Right. So I was like, so there's a tribe of people out there who are not feeling connected to any of those people. Yes, they can those other podcasts have great content, but they're listening to those people going, oh my God, just freaking get to it. Cause that's me. Right. So I was like, I got to have something fun that makes it entertaining. And so each and every one of my podcast episodes, we talk about a safe word, because as I'm interviewing people, I'm like, if you think I'm pushing too hard, if you think I'm going too far with a question, the safe word is meatloaf. And they're like, okay. And the reason is because I would do anything for love, but I won't do that. Right. So it makes it fun. Now, here's the thing. I've never in any of my interviews had anybody safe word, because of course a good dom doesn't push boundaries, right? To the point where you have to safe word. You have to understand the person you're talking to, the person you're in interaction with.
That's so good.
So I also weave in other BDSM themes in my monologue episodes where I actually kind of educate people about the kink.
Yeah.
And say, okay, and here's how it applies to direct sales.
Wow.
So, and I do that with the help of all my friends who are in the kink world. who I'm going, okay, give me a theme, give me a topic. Let me see if I can apply it to direct sales. And so far it's working.
I'm curious, how has it impacted your romance, your romantic life and your family life? Tell us more about, since beginning the BDSM theme and culture in your business and how you support clients. Tell us more about that.
Well, in terms of my own personal life, yes, it has changed my entire thing, because we have conversations now around different things. I'm like, did you know that X, Y, and Z is a thing? Wow. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
So so my boyfriend and I do actually talk about those kinds of things and have conversations, and and it's just all come from the fact that we're like, ooh, this is interesting. Let's learn more about this, right? So that has impacted my personal life, interestingly enough. Yeah. Personal life follows business life. Interesting. Yeah. But I have also found that there are some people because I am somebody, I don't know if you can see the logo back there. I network in BNI.
Yep.
And so there are some people who, when they found out about the podcast, were like, because for those of you who don't know, I live in the Bible Belt. I'm in the Midwest. And so there's a lot of people who are very kind of iffy about the whole thing. And I said, well, do me a favor. No one knows if you listen to the podcast. Even I don't know. All I get are numbers. Yep. Like literally how many downloads. I can't tell who they're from or anything like that. If I can request that you'll just go listen. And if you don't like it and you're not going to be able to share it, just say, hey, this isn't something I can do. And that's okay. I'm okay with that, because if you feel that way, your tribe, the people who know you, are probably not my tribe anyway.
Exactly.
Or at least they're hiding it really well.
Right.
But most people, after they listen, they go, oh, okay, it's not that bad, right? I do have an explicit filter or explicit rating on it, because we do talk about BDSM concepts and things like that. And I do tell my interview guests that they are allowed to use grown-up words.
Yep.
You're allowed to use grown-up words if you want to, but it doesn't mean you have to. Totally all up to your level of comfort. And so I just play off of whoever I'm talking to. So if they drop an F-bomb, then it's
boom,
on.
Shakalaka.
Right? So yeah, absolutely. But that's because I know people who want to listen to me are okay with that. Yeah. And the people who aren't, cool. There are like 100 other direct sales coaches out there who are perfect for you, who aren't me.
That's right. It's like really creating that, like, hey, I'm a perfect fit for my people. I don't need to be a perfect fit for everyone. I think a lot of people struggle with that, even probably in direct sales, right? Like, who do we resonate with? Who are the people who we want to be having conversations with? It's not everyone. Like, who do you love talking to that you think would be enjoyable just to sit down with and connect with, and you want to serve them? And then if there's an opportunity for them to grow your business and like grow that, then awesome. But you got to work with people you love first.
Oh yeah. And I have that conversation with people in direct sales, people who aren't in direct sales, of course, because, being in a networking organization, I'm talking to, I know 1 million realtors. I know 700 chiropractors. All those businesses that are very highly represented at the chamber, at the whatever, right? So when I meet with someone and I'm like, who's your best client? And they start out with anyone or someone. Sorry, if you're listening on the podcast, I crossed my eyes. Okay. No, I can't. I cannot grab my phone, open my contact list, and find anyone. If I type the word anyone into my contact list, it doesn't come up. If I type the word someone into my contact list, it doesn't come up.
Nope.
Right? What I need to know is tell me, within HIPAA compliant standards, for those of you who are chiropractors or whatever, but think of your top 3 clients. Yeah. Who are your absolute favorites that if they called you, you pick up the phone excited to talk to them?
Yep.
Who are those 3 people? Give me some descriptions or characteristics or values that make them wonderful clients for you, so that when I meet that person, when I see that person, I know to send them to you.
Boom.
Right? I don't want to send you everyone, because if I send you everyone, guess what? You also get the clients that you freaking hate.
Mm-hmm.
You get the pain in the butt ones.
Yep.
But those pain in the butt ones are a fish that someone else wants to fry.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's along the journey. It's like serves as clarification. Like who is it that I really love to work with? Because oftentimes we're dealing with people, especially moms, who are getting started. Right? They might have some success, but it's like, really, how do I get to my next level? How do I create the automation? How do I create the freedom? How do I like really change my family's like legacy and what we're able to do because of this income? And it's like, to get to that level, it really takes dialing in and noticing those trends, those patterns, and like niching the heck down and crushing it.
Yeah. If you want to get rich, niche. I don't know who said it, but if you want to get rich, niche. And so that's why when people find out I'm a coach, and then not only that, but a direct sales coach, they're like, wow, that's quite the niche. I'm like, yeah, because there's a whole bunch of people who need me.
Yeah.
Whole lot of people who need me. And that, again, that's something I learned from Steve Ulsher. You know, there are people every day who are praying for me. They just don't know I exist. Mm-hmm. I got to get out there in front of them. Mm-hmm. And this is how I do it. I network, I podcast, I work with other podcasters, because there are people out there who are going, especially today, going, how am I going to stay in business?
Yep.
What am I going to do? And now they're thinking, oh, well, maybe if I talk to a coach, that could save my business. Because what do I not know? What does my upline leader not know that she knows that she can help me with? Because I'm not here to replace your upline. I'm here to support your upline. Mm-hmm. I'm here, you know, and that's one of the big questions I get from people is, you know, well, don't they have someone to help them? And I'm like, yeah, but we can't guarantee what kind of person that is. And I got into coaching because I realized I was lucky. I had an amazing mentor. She's still a friend of mine. She's fabulous. She's an amazing leader. She gets the sales thing. She's phenomenal. And I realized I lucked out.
Yep.
Out of 20 million Americans, I could have ended up with anyone else.
Yep.
And I got her as my leader. And I went, other people need someone like that. Mm-hmm. And the only way I can do that is to get out of the company and go be this person for other people.
Yeah. So good, Jennie. I love it. As we wrap up with the final takeaways, I want to go back to the, like, with chaos, with, you know, things that are going on in a lot of people's lives. Like, what do you think is important to really keep top of mind as we move into these next weeks and months? Like, what do you think is going to make the difference for them in their business?
Ooh, that's good. Right now, I think it's really take care of yourselves. A lot of people are so focused on the news. They're so focused on the stress, the anxiety, that they're not doing even the little basic things to take care of themselves. Put yourself first for 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. If you can do 30 minutes, please, dear God, put yourself first for 30 minutes a day. Go for a walk. Do some guided meditations if you're not into doing meditation. You know, drink water, eat clean, you know, don't eat junk. Give your body the best possible chance to feel as wonderful as it can in these times. Fill your cup first, take care of you, and then work on the other people in your life.
So good. So good. I love it. I love it. And it really goes back to that beginning when you were talking about, like, first fill up my cup, then my family, and then my business will thrive because I'm taking care of that and those primary things.
Business bounces back.
Yeah.
It always does. We had a Great Depression. Guess what? We came back.
Yep.
We had the recession of 2008. We came back.
Yep.
Businesses slowed down right now, but thank goodness for all this technology, because guess what? Business has not come to a complete screeching halt. There are still people doing business thanks to technology.
Yep.
It's an amazing opportunity right now. And of course, we don't want to be opportunistic with this necessarily, but certainly understanding that we still want to keep that energy of money flowing.
Yeah. And I think it's all perspective too, right? Like, how do I perceive these moments? And I was talking to Jim Padilla, who was at New Media Summit, great guy. And he was talking about, like, in this season, while most people are like contracting and shrinking and not not pushing the boundaries. He's like, we're hiring salespeople, investing in ads, improving our processes. Like we're moving forward, full steam ahead. So I think it's like, how do we choose to really relate to the times? There's always going to be like something. There's always going to be something. The question is, how do we respond to it? I love what you said earlier. It's 90% of how you respond, how you react to what happens. 10% is actual situation or circumstance,
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me on. This has been so much fun. I love this. I needed this in the middle of my day.
I know some people are wanting the whip in their life, get their kink on.
Yep. Let me tell you, the riding crop, it's awesome. It's fun.
How do people
Don't knock
get
it till
more?
You try it.
How do they get more? How do people get more of that, Jenny?
Of course. Well, we have Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast, which is available on all podcast platforms. I am, of course, on Facebook, Badass Direct Sales Mastery. And that's probably the quickest, easiest way to get a hold of me is through Facebook. And you can find me through there. And I'm Jennie Bellinger, JENNIE on Facebook. So friend me. I'd love to get to know you. How can I help you?
Boom. I love it. I love it. It's like the professional, the systems, the get shit done. And then you also got this like, hey, I'm real. I really want to get to know you, connect with you. I care about you. And how can I serve you? And I love no fish goes unfried, and like say, hey, if I'm not the person who can serve you at the highest and best, like who can I connect you with? Who can I really refer you to? I think that's a really abundant mindset. I think it's really, really important, Jenny.
Oh, there's 20 million Americans doing direct sales at any given time. I cannot handle 20 million clients. There's no way. There's no way. Right. Would I love to? Yes, but not well. Right. And I want to serve them well.
Yes.
So no. And if you want to know more about No Fish Goes Unfried, talk to Virginia Mooskies.
Ooh, yes. Yes.
She's my coach.
I love it. Jenny, you are just a blast. Thank you so much for being here. Keep bringing the kink to the world and transforming these moms' businesses. Keep up the great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you soon, okay?
Absolutely.
All right. You take care.
You too. Bye-bye.